a Cromwell media station.
Nashville.
The suit is in the building.
Acknowledge me.
Are you ready? Ready? This is Chase McCabe on Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Chase McCabe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Happy Thursday, everyone. Hope you're having a fantastic start to your day as we get ready for college football week 1. Games tonight. I cannot wait. I was looking at lines. I was just listening to Fat Jack on with Robbie and Rexroad as he will join them every Thursday at 8:45 to give you some betting tips. You will hear those sorts of things all over these airwaves because, it's obviously a very big thing. So looking forward to that. We'll have Lee Sterling join us tomorrow at 10:30 to talk about the same thing. So that will be cool. Nick Frazier hanging out today. Nick, what's up? How are you?
Good. Sorry, muted myself. We're okay. Doing fine this morning. I'm ready for some silly underdog picks today.
Yes, so Chris Sanders is going to join us at 9:15 here in just a few minutes. We moved some stuff around today because we got a really special guest coming in studio tomorrow that I haven't even told Nick about. So he's going to this is firsthand. You're going to hear that reaction. Hall of Famer Rondé Barber will be in studio with us tomorrow to start the show. So looking forward to that as he's in town with Superbook. So he's going to come by. So it'll be really cool to talk to Rondé Barber tomorrow at the start of the show around 9:05, somewhere in there. So that'll be cool. So Chris is going to do today at 9:15. Rand Carthon will address the media at 9:40. Mike Vrabel soon after that around 10. So looking forward to that and hearing what they have to say about the initial 53 as they continue to make tweaks to that. We'll get to that in a few minutes. I do want to shout out the Preds. Sean Henry, Barry Trotz, Bill Wickett, everybody with the Predators had our sales team over there yesterday to do our sales meeting, and it was cool. Got to go take our picture down on the ice. And, obviously these are things that, I've gotten to do before, which is kind of fun. But for our sales team that has never gotten to experience that, it was really cool and some team bonding. And Trotzy came in and told stories and took some questions and had a lot of fun with us. So it was really cool and really appreciate them for having us over there. So looking forward to the season. Hard to believe it's about a month away from getting started with training camp and preseason and everything with the Preds. But with the Titans, news coming out this morning that former Bears pass rusher Trevis Gipson will be signing with the Titans. He was released on Tuesday by the Bears, and now all reports are Jeremy Fowler putting it out there from ESPN that he's going to sign with the Titans. And I got to tell you, this is a sneaky good move by Rand Carthon and Mike Vrabel, because the thing that I have been worried about the most when it comes to the Titans, especially on defense, is their depth. And I think adding a pass rusher like Gibson is certainly going to help when it comes to the depth. We already know this front seven's pretty good, but depth is not going to hurt. He's 26 years old. He had 7 sacks in 2021, but that was also when Chicago played in the 3-4 defense. And I actually talked to some people from Chicago this morning that was the first thing they said, that this is going to be a good fit for him, because when Eberflus moved to a 4-3, that's where it didn't really help Gibson. Gibson thrives more in a 3-4 hybrid type defense like the Titans run, and so you could see him have some production. So I like this move. On X, he tweeted out, "Tighten up, let's go." So that pretty much confirms it for you. We'll see what Rand Carthon and Mike Vrabel have to say about that. But adding Trevis Gipson, we talk about the defense having to carry the water for the Titans. I think this is a sneaky good move to have him on that pass rush. I like it, Nick. What do you think?
I mean, Hutton said yesterday on the midday show, he said the word elite, Chase. I've mentioned this defense can be elite.
You're high on the defense.
I'm high on the defense. And, I think Jonathan Hutton's in the same boat with me. He said this front seven has the capability of being elite. And so with that being said, it's just another addition, and this defense is just restocking, getting the depth. It is going to really be something crazy to watch this season.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think it will too. And adding Gibson is just certainly going to help that. So I don't think they're done by any means with some of the roster tweaks. I mean, you see that around the league all the time that, that you add – because, like, here's what happens. You add Travis Gibson, who are you cutting? So, other teams are going to be doing the same thing and adding players to their rosters and then, that means that other players could be available. And so I just think more tweaks are going to be happening as we go along. So it'll certainly be interesting. We've also talked about the kicker. Yesterday, Brett Kern was on the show, and I kind of got his thoughts on Nick Folk. Here was Brett Kern on what he knew about Nick Folk. I don't know how well you know Nick Folk, but he's been in the league longer. I mean, I guess longer than you. 2007 is when he started with the Dallas Cowboys. So what do you know about him and what he can bring to the Titans?
Yeah, Nick was he was a year before me. I remember because preseason when I was in Denver my rookie year, we practiced against the Cowboys, and he was there in his second year. And Nick's a great guy. He's in the league, this long for a reason. Obviously, he's proven himself over the years, and accuracy wise, and especially too, what's been impressive is probably the last 3 years, ever since Steven, Gostkowski left New England, they've obviously needed somebody, and he's gone up there and done a great job. Anytime you're going over 90% in New England in that stadium, which is not a very friendly stadium to kick in for kickers or punters, when you're going 92%, the last 2 years and 86.5 last year, that's pretty impressive. So I think it'll be good too to get a veteran in there. When you bring somebody in like a veteran, a lot of guys, respect that. Anytime you play in the league a long time, there's a reason why. And so guys respect that, kind of no matter what position you play. So he'll be good. He'll be good for Stoney too. And obviously to have Morgan, who I think is, the best snapper in the league and for sure the most accurate, it should be a good combination for him.
Brett Kern yesterday on the program. And the Titans also yesterday afternoon. And I like this move, too. You talk about sneaky good moves. So, they bring in Nick Folk. He's going to be the starting kicker for the team. But then they also signed Cade York to the practice squad, the former Cleveland kicker. And that's somebody, and Brett and I were texting about him off air. And he's like, I like that, too. Cleveland's a very hard place to kick in. And then Cade could come in and be on the practice squad, develop more, and then give you another option, an insurance policy, so to speak, if you needed it. And so, obviously, they're addressing kicker. Maybe they haven't done it in the way or the time period that we all had hoped and wanted, but it seems like that they are doing it now and have Nick Folk coming in and then Cade York. Could that be they call up York to do kickoffs, to use him as one of their call-ups? That's a possibility. But time will tell on that. So I certainly like the moves that the Titans are making when it comes to their 53-man roster and it comes to their practice squad. They also claimed, they're getting a couple Bears now. They claimed cornerback Kendall Vildor off waivers and released Corey Levin, which that was a little bit of a surprise that they released Levin. I'm kind of curious if they circle back on that because I like Levin. I felt like they liked Levin. And that he could, he was a good backup, the backup center, but they, kept Newman. So certainly, again, could be some tweaking. The 16 players on the practice squad, and this didn't include Cade York. So there obviously could be changes there. But Chance Campbell, Shaim Carter, Eric Garrer, Trayshawn Gibson, Mason Kinsey, Amani Marsh, T.K. McClendon, OJ, the tackle that we talk about, Kyle Pecco, Andrew Rupich. So Rupkich. So there are some others that are on there too. Thomas Odukoya. How about that, Nick? I got it right that time.
First try, baby.
Yeah, that was good. They got him, Michael Dwumfor, Kevin Rader. So I mean, there's some guys that were in camp that go to the practice squad, and that's where that practice squad really helps. That you can have. It's more than just 10 players now. Where like it used to be. Now with 16, that certainly helps, and you can get those game day call-ups as well. So roster tweaking season is certainly underway with the Tennessee Titans and around the NFL. So we will continue to talk about that and be joined by Chris Sanders coming up in just a few minutes. We'll kind of get his thoughts on the receiver room because Buck Rising A to Z Sports reported last night or yesterday that it looks like Kyle Phillips will start the year on IR, so he'll miss at least the first 4 games of the season. Since he made the initial 53, they can put him on IR and then bring him back, whereas if they had done it before the initial 53, he's out for the year. And so that's ultimately why they kept 7 wide receivers. So that they'll get him back eventually. But we'll get his thoughts on that and much, much more. Coming up next here on Chase McCabe as we're up and running here on a Thursday. College football is back tonight, and so is our college football game of the week. This week on 102.5 and 106.3, the game, it's at 11 o'clock on Saturday as Tennessee will take on Virginia. Thanks to our friends at the University of Virginia, the Virginia Radio Network, presented by Twin Peaks. Take your tailgate to Twin Peaks for scenic views of all the hottest non-conference games across the country. Tune in to that Saturday on 102.5, 106.3, the game.
Every Wednesday at 8:30. Join Robbie and Rex Road for The Choice is Yours.
2 sports questions, 2 non-sports questions.
They'll answer a couple of questions about life and sports. The Choice is Yours is built by Jarrett Companies. You have a choice. So when you have a need for site and utility work, fire protection, concrete and asphalt services, the choice is simple. It's Jarrett Companies. For more, visit JarrettCompaniesInc.com. The Choice is Yours. Wednesdays at 8:30 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey guys, it's Mike at Newton Nissan in Gallatin. As these summer days get longer and warmer, we're offering lower oil change prices for our customers. From now until August 31st, you can get your oil change on your Nissan for only $49.95. Our service center offers the convenience of comfortable seating, premium coffee drinks, snacks, and pretty Nissan sitting in the showroom for you to look at. And we even have convenient Saturday hours, so you don't have to interrupt a workday or a summer fun day with the kiddos. You can easily make your service appointment online at newtonnissan.com/schedule-service. That's newtonnissan.com/schedule-service. Valid for Nissan vehicles only. Up to 5 quarts of oil. For more than 5 quarts, just add $5. If you've got a larger truck like a Titan, the price is $54.95. No charge for air conditioning while you wait. Also, we'd love to show you some options for you to trade up to a new vehicle with a full warranty. Quick and easy while you wait.
Now through Labor Day, get incredible deals at Electronic Express. Get a 70-inch LG 4K Smart TV only $599, or a Maytag laundry pair only $449 each. Electronic Express has huge savings on 4K TVs, appliances, furniture, mattresses, and more. Don't miss out on an HP Ryzen laptop just $399, or Sony Bluetooth speakers for only $16. Plus, get up to 60 months special financing throughout the entire store. Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Hey, it's Jared. Want to tell you about Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Hiller is keeping you chillin' all summer with special deals to keep you relaxed and happy this summer. Tackle those necessary home system replacements this month to take advantage of these special deals. When you purchase a select new HVAC system, you'll get 2 Yeti Trailhead camping chairs, a Yeti Panga 28L waterproof backpack, a Yeti Tundra 75, and 2 Yeti tumblers for free. And get special freebies on Yeti products with every new whole home generator or tankless water heater purchase. That's Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Calling all Nashville Sounds baseball fans. You know that 312 Pizza Company in Germantown is the best place to be before or after a Sounds game, but this season, it gets even better. Stop by 312 Pizza Company before or after any Nashville Sounds home game with your day of ticket and get a free old-style beer. That's right, you get a free old-style beer from 312 Pizza just for watching Sounds baseball, only redeemable with purchase. See you at 312 Pizza Company all baseball season long. 312 Pizza Company, a proud sponsor of your Nashville Sounds.
Every day we are live and local.
You need to give Ryan Tannehill a 2-year extension.
There haven't been too many coaching changes for the Predators.
And your source for Nashville sports.
I think that's what the Titans need.
Players who can score.
We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Bring it on, Chop. Let's go.
You're listening to Chase McCabe on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
You're all I've ever wanted, and my arms are open wide.
Chase McCabe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. When you hear that music, it can only mean one man. Forever Titans wide receiver Chris Sanders, who joins us now, and also today at noon on Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace, Silly Underdog Picks is back, and you can sign up for your chance to win weekly prizes. Make your picks today at thegamenashville.com or on the 102.5 The Game app as week 1 of college football kicks off. Silly Underdog Picks presented by Volunteer Hose and Gasket and Superbook Sports. Chris, good morning, my friend. How are you?
Man, I'm doing pretty good, man. I couldn't sleep. It's kind of like in 1999 when I went to the Super Bowl. The night before, I couldn't sleep, so now it's Silly Dog Underpick, and I'm ready to get after it and maintain my crown.
You are ready. I'm ready.
I'm ready, too.
It's a full group this year. We're going back to tradition, just picking college. So it's going to be fun, but you and Caroline joining, D-Mace, George Plaster, Kelly Holcomb, and yours truly. Cannot wait.
Hey, I just can't wait to talk bad to Kelly. I mean, I texted him last night, and we got the text started, and he's talking trash already, so I'm ready to kick their butt. I'm ready to get after it.
Quarterback and receivers talking trash to each other. Gotta love it.
Combination.
You know, the Titans are making their tweaks to the 53-man roster. I'm going to start with this. The report that came out this morning, and he's pretty much confirmed it, but Travis Gibson, former pass rusher for the Bears, was released on Tuesday. Titans are signing him. I love this move, Chris, because that's depth on the defensive line, and this is a guy that had 7 sacks in 2021.
I mean, it brings a lot of depth. I mean, just imagine the front that the Tennessee Titans already have. You got Simmons, you got T.R. Tart, you got Landry, Archie, all these guys that are rushing the passer. Then all of a sudden you just sign this guy, and it just brings a lot of depth because you know it's a long season. Guys are going to get banged up. So if you have a lot of quality guys, a lot of quality depth, I think this pick is smart because, you know, when you first look at it, you're like, okay, why do they need more defensive guys? If you look at the previous years, last year and the year before, a lot of guys were banged up. So if a guy gets banged up in front of him, he comes in, it's not like missing a beat at all.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a good one for them. Just to add to that group. And, you know, I talked to some people in Chicago that said that, you know, when they changed to a 4-3, that really affected him. He's more effective in a 3-4 like the Titans run, so I think that's going to be a good fit.
Yeah, and also, too, you know, he's going to come in here hungry because last year, you know, everybody's talking about that he had a down year. I mean, how do you have a down year when you have 7 sacks? So he's hearing all this. You had a down year. You didn't play up to your capability. You don't think that Mike Vrabel's telling him to say, you come in here and you make a splash, you can do something to help these Tennessee Titans. I think that's a great, you know, sign for the Tennessee Titans.
So with receiver, they end up hanging on to 7, but we think that Kyle Phillips is going to start the year on IR, so that makes sense to have 6 on the active roster. What did you think about Kyrus Jackson and Colton Dowell making the initial 53?
I love Jackson. Jackson's a versatile player, just like we talk about. He can play kickoff return, he can play punt return. And the one thing I love about this cat, he's very, very explosive. I know Kyle Phillips is real quick and, you know, can get the guys out, all those things, but watching him have chest over knees, watching him lie with his eyes, he does that so spectacular. Now we're talking about Colton Dowell. I'm a little kind of not biased, but I thought that Trayshawn Harrison should have been in that position in the 53-man rotation in Colton Dowell because if you look at Harrison, he's been making plays from the day one since he got there. So, you know, even though both of those guys, Colton Dowell and Kyrus Jackson, made the 53-man roster, in my opinion, I think Trayshawn Harrison should have been in that 53.
Well, he is on the practice squad, so
just practice squad. But I'm talking about like being active and having a chance to really play.
Yeah, no, I think they have options. I mean, they kept
exactly.
I think they kept Harrison and Kinsey on the practice squad.
Right.
I was a little surprised that they didn't put Roberson back on the practice squad.
Man.
Maybe they will. I don't know, but he's still out there from what I can tell. But that was a little surprising to me.
Yeah, it was, and I think that's a great observation because me and TD was talking yesterday, and I asked him because he's been to a lot more practice than I have. I said, man, what was it? The practices that I went to, he was consistently showing up a film. He was consistently making plays. This is what TD said, and I don't want to steal his thunder. He didn't show up in the game.
Yeah.
And when you don't show up in the game, then they don't know if they can trust you or not. And then I talked to him. I said, well, okay, listen, if he didn't show up in the game, did he get the opportunities? He said no. So maybe it's just him not getting the opportunity.
Talking to Chris Sanders, Forever Titans wide receiver. The good news is, and he did speak, Traylon Burks has been running around. It's kind of trending that he could be good to go for the Saints after that scary injury. Like, we all thought the worst, and, man, he could be good to go for week 1.
Yeah, I mean, I hope that's the case. But the thing about it is, I don't think it's going to be a physical thing. I don't think, it's going to be worried about if he can do it or not. I just think the mental processing of trying to say, okay, I had a bad injury in Minnesota, and, I'm a few weeks out. So it's all going to depend on his mental capability of handling the pain and not being tentative on that leg. And, everybody's excited about him coming out in practice and doing a couple of things. But at the end of the day, when you're a wide receiver, you got to start, you got to stop, you got to misdirection, all these things. And if mentally he can do that, I think that's going to be an asset for the Tennessee Titans.
What was maybe the biggest surprise to you of a guy that either made it or didn't make it?
I think the biggest surprise, he actually made the practice squad, and it was Chance Campbell.
Yeah.
Everybody was talking about him in camp and, him going against Gibbons and Monty Rice. And he, in looking at camp and looking at all the games, him and Gibbons has been the most consistent. So I don't understand it. And I'm not a GM, so I don't know. But I understand when you got a guy that's been making plays the whole camp and making plays in the preseason games, you don't put him on the 53-man roster. You put him on the practice squad. But just like what we talked about, Chase, it's a long season. So if somebody gets banged up, he comes in, and it's just like it's not missing a beat.
Yeah, I was surprised Monty Rice made this team. I really was.
I know he wasn't there.
I know. And Otis Reese, too. I mean, and now Otis Reese was there. I say that in more of a good on him,
right.
but he was one of those when it came out, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
good on him.
Yeah, but on the flip side of that too, Chase is he was talking about why wasn't he out there? I don't know if it was a physical thing. He was talking about he's just dealing with life. So maybe that's good by Rand Carthon or Mike Vrabel by seeing, okay, this guy has a lot of potential, but let him just deal with the life stuff and let him come back in and help the Tennessee Titans. So maybe that might have been one of the cases.
Another surprise when it comes to roster moves is they activated Dylan Radins off the PUP list. He's practicing.
Right.
I don't know what kind of factor he's going to be, if he's going to be one at all, but you talk about depth in the offensive line. They at least have that piece now as he goes into his third year. What are you expecting out of Radins as we go through the first few weeks of the season?
I don't know. By coming off an injury, I mean, when you're coming off an injury, it's kind of tough to really play that position. If you look at, I think about four or 5 years ago, when Conklin, came off the knee injury, he kind of struggled with pass pro and kind of struggled to get back into rare form. Radins, when he stepped into camp, and I say this in a respectful way, he wasn't that good at his position. So now you have a knee injury. Now you're behind the A-ball. Now they're putting you, right back in the fire. So I really don't know. I mean, maybe the time off, allowed him to get better. But I think the reason why they activated Radins as a top 53 because he can play so many positions. He can play the left tackle. He can play the right tackle. He can play right guard. So I think that's the reason why he's on a 53-man roster.
So the offensive line, Dillard, Skoronski, Brewer, Brunskill, Chris Hubbard. That looks like it's going to be the starting five against the Saints. Which one of those guys do you trust the most?
Oh, Skoronski. Can I pick two or one?
I mean, if there's a second one, go ahead. But, I mean, Skoronski's my answer.
Yeah, minus Skoronski, that's number one. I mean, just watching his demeanor and how versatile he is. And, even though you look at his face, you're like, okay, can this guy be a mean guy? No, this dude will run through your lips. He will run through your face. So I love the attitude that he brings. I love that he's communicating with different guys on the offensive line. And then the one guy that I'm really, really surprised is doing really, really well is Brewer. Brewer's doing a great job. He's playing physical. I know everybody talks about he's not a big guy and this and that, but you can't judge a man by how big he is. You judge a man by his heart. So he's been playing physical. Skoronski's been playing physical, and I think that with those two guys that are solid, it'll make everybody around them better.
Yeah, I'm still curious about this offensive line.
I know. I'm concerned about Dillard and Hubbard. Those are the two cats, and I'm kind of concerned about.
I am too. The secondary is probably the other part, and it's more depth than anything.
Right.
I like Trey Avery that he made it. I think he's a nice depth piece.
Yeah.
Anthony Kendall was you talk about surprises. That was a surprise. to me that he made the roster. But when you look at the corners specifically, and they also added Kendall Vildor, who I know nothing about, claimed him from Chicago. But what's kind of your thoughts when it comes to the corners specifically?
I think they're going to be pretty good. I know we got McCabe. I know they're going to switch him inside a little bit too. But I love what Fulton's been doing, and I love the attitude that he's bringing. Because last year, it was a little disappointing because he was consistently hurt, and he'll make a play occasionally. But watching this guy's attitude, watching him do interviews, watching him, when they're going against the Minnesota Vikings, and he went up to Jefferson and said, "I'm going to cover you all day long." So with him having that attitude, and you got Murphy, but you got McCabe, you got Vilder, you got Kendall. I think this can definitely be a solid group. And the reason why I say this is going to be a solid group is because you got them big boys up front with Simmons, Landry, Autry, Key, and all those guys rushing the quarterback. So those guys are going to be great in the back end.
Well, and how much of a benefit has it been for that group to have to go up against somebody like Hopkins?
Every day. I mean, just imagine. I did this when I was as a rookie coming in. I went against Chris Dishman every day. And Chris Dishman and D-Lou, those guys were some of the best corners in the league at that time. So in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, if I can beat them and I'm consistently, scoring touchdowns on those guys, I'll go against other guys and I know I can beat them. It's the same thing with these corners with Fulton, McCrary. If you're covering Hopkins once in a while, you ain't going to cover him all the time. Once in a while, then that gives you the confidence and the attitude that I can cover the best wide receivers in the league.
So now that the roster is essentially done, tweaks here and there. And wait, I want to ask you about kicker first. Nick Folk. They had Nick Folk as the kicker. They trade a 7th-round pick to go get him to be the kicker. Also, reports are they're signing Cade York to the practice squad, which I like that move too. That they're doing that. Do you feel better about kicker? Or are you still a little nervous going into week one?
I mean, I'm still a little nervous because we got to understand it. And I know, Rand Carthon and Mike Vrabel understand how important the kicker is. Because look at the first game that the Tennessee Titans played last year. We're going against the Giants. It's a close game. Kyle Phillips, catches 6 passes to get into field goal range for the Tennessee Titans win. And it's wide left, and you lose, and that set the momentum of the year. So we got to get a kicker in here. We got to make sure that he's reliable and it makes those kicks. I love Nick Folk. He's played 16 seasons. His career is over 82%. But here's the one thing that I'm kind of concerned about, just a little bit. And I'm not getting the fans all nervous, but over 50 yards, he's 36 for 58 in his career. That's the only thing that concerns me about that situation.
Yeah, I mean, and also kickoffs. I mean, he doesn't. I mean, he does kick off, but he puts it at the 5 or the 6. Now, Brett Kern was on the show yesterday, and he kind of thinks that was a part of the strategy in New England. But I got to see something different before I can feel better about it.
I mean, we got to. We don't want to have the same situation where we go in week one, we're playing against the Saints, and, the same thing happens when we get in position to win the game, and then it's wide left, and then now it just gets a bad taste in your mouth. Because if you look at the NFL, Chase, there's not – a lot of teams are not going to blow each other out. It's going to come down to 1 or 2 points or come down to a field goal. So even though in our mind we may not see the field goal kicker or the extra point guy all the time, but they're going to have to make those key clutch kicks at the right time, and we got to make sure we have somebody in there.
So tomorrow, Friday, week 3 of high school football. I know it's been a rough couple weeks for the Big Red, but you learn a lot in those situations. So how you feeling Memphis University School tomorrow night?
I mean, MUS has got a great program. I mean, they got some great coaches, great staff, but we just got to play Big Red football, And the thing about it is, we're 0-2 at this situation, but I'm so proud of these kids. These kids fight. They're going to keep going. You're young at some positions, but we're going to continue to get better. So when we play against MUS, we just got to come out with fire, not make mistakes, have fun, and just enjoy the stinking game. I talk about this all the time. I tell my receivers every single week, you got 2 choices: to get better or get bitter. Losers complain, winners get better, and all these cats are winners. We're going to come back and go get this dub.
No doubt, for sure. Hey, appreciate it as always, and we'll talk to you at noon for Silly Underdog Picks.
Hey, get your popcorn ready, big dog. Let's go get it.
I'm ready. Thanks, Chris.
I appreciate it. Love you, bro. Bye-bye.
Love you too. Chris Sanders, Forever Titans wide receiver, joining us today as we talk some Titans football with him. Will usually joins us on Fridays at 9:30, but again, Rondé Barber coming in studio tomorrow, so looking forward to talking to him, the Hall of Famer, new Hall of Famer. So we will do that. We'll react to some things that Chris said. Rand Carthon coming up at the top at 9:40, and then Mike Vrabel will be at the top of the hour as well. You hear from them. Chase McCabe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
They combine hard-hitting journalism.
The Titans asked Kevin Byard to take a pay cut.
Strong-willed opinions.
There's hot takes and then there's like weird takes. Yeah. This is a weird take.
And sometimes some old man takes.
I'm excited about it. So do I gyrate embarrassingly?
To create the perfect morning show, they are Robbie and Rex Road. Mornings from 6 to 9. Presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
All right, let's talk about Superbook Sports. I mean, we got some college football that you can bet on right now. Why bet with the big boys this football season? Instead, try your hand with the local book, Superbook Sports. Superbook is the book next door, just a dedicated team of the best odds makers out of Las Vegas, making sure that you get the best prices and parlays anywhere. And now Superbook will give you a bonus of up to $250 when you sign up and wager on the same day and you use my promo code CHASE, C-H-A-S-E. So bet with the best and use the promo code CHASE this football season with Superbook Sports. It is that simple, so why not check it out? You got some games tonight. I'll tell you the one that is just like puzzling to me, Florida-Utah. Florida is getting 5 points. I mean, conventional wisdom might tell you Utah, but I just got a sneaky feeling that maybe taking that 5 points with Florida might be the play. Use the promo code CHASE. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
At Harbor Freight, we think you shouldn't have to break the bank to get great tools. Because we know that for some of you, tools are part of the job. And for others, they're just the beginning of making, fixing, restoring, and building. That's why we make high-quality tools that are priced affordably. Because we love being the start of all your working, making, fixing, restoring, and building. Whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight.
Your home reflects you, your style, your choices. That's why purchasing a home is not just financially significant, it's personal too. At F&M Mortgage, we understand clients need a loan that's just as personal, one that fits you with service from a local lender who lives right here. Yes, we offer competitive rates and low closing costs, but we also know home financing should be more than just numbers. Come see us at one of our branches or online at myfmbank.com. F&M Bank, banking made easy on purpose. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
This year, Boys and Girls Club of Middle Tennessee celebrates its 120th anniversary. Through time, BGCMT continues to evolve to enable all young people, especially those who need us most, to reach their full potential as productive, caring, and responsible leaders. Because of your continued support, BGCMT has remained strong and is committed to supporting our youth and solidifying our mission and culture in new exciting ways for 120 years. Visit bgcmt.org today.
Trust your pets with Cottle Vet Clinic in East Nashville in the heart of Inglewood for compassionate care and your fur baby's optimal health. From vaccinations to health checkups with on-site pharmacy, teeth cleaning, grooming, and state-of-the-art surgical procedures, trust Cottle Vet, now offering boarding. Visit cottlevetclinic.com to learn more. We know you love your pet. And at Cottle Vet Clinic, pets are family.
Blue Raider fans, your home for all the MTSU football and men's basketball action is on 93.3 Classic Hits and 95.1 Classic Hits in the borough. Catch the action all season long with Chip Walters on the call. Go Blue Raiders!
It's the latest social networking thingy. We are all over social media. Follow us on Twitter at 102. See, aren't we cool?
Chase McCabe on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
Are you still a little nervous going into week one?
I mean, I'm still a little nervous because we got to understand it. And I know, Rand Carthon and Mike Vrabel understand how important the kicker is. Because look at the first game that the Tennessee Titans played last year. We're going against the Giants. It's a close game. Kyle Phillips, catches 6 passes to get into field goal range for the Tennessee Titans win. and it's wide left, and you lose, and that set the momentum of the year. So we got to get a kicker in here. We got to make sure that he's reliable and it makes those kicks. I love Nick Folk. He played 16 seasons. You know, his career is over 82%. But here's the one thing that I'm kind of concerned about, just a little bit. I'm not getting the fans all nervous, but over 50 yards, he's 36 for 58 in his career. That's the only thing that concerns me about that situation.
That was Chris Sanders joining us just a few minutes ago talking about kickers. We'll have Rand Carthon in about 5 minutes, so quick little reaction to that before we get to Rand Carthon. On the kicker, so Schefter put out yesterday that that the Titans are signing Cade York, former Browns kicker, to the practice squad. Here's what I think is going to happen. I think Nick Folk is going to be he's on the 53. He's the everyday kicker. I could see, at least for week 1, they call Cade York up from the practice squad, have him do kickoffs, and as Jared just said in a text to me, long field goals. That I could see. I could see that being a thing that happens, at least for week 1, while they continue to evaluate things. But we'll find out. I thought it was interesting. If you missed the interview with Brett Kern, former Titans punter, yesterday, you can check it out at thegamenashville.com. He talked about, why, punters that did kickoffs, because he attempted 9 kickoffs in his career, that it shortens the career of a punter because it's a completely different motion and uses different muscles. I didn't even realize that. I never thought about that. So I thought that was really interesting that he pointed that out when he was on with us yesterday. But kicking is going to be, I think, something that's brought up to Rand Carthon, something that's going to be brought up to Mike Vrabel. Do they feel like they fixed it, or is this going to be a carousel all season long now that they have Nick Folk and then Cade York? Going to be very interesting for sure. We will step away once again. Coming up next, it will be Rand Carthon at the podium. We'll bring that to you here on Chase McCabe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
The Vanderbilt Commodores are ready for year 3 under head coach Clark Lee.
As we stand now in front of a clean sheet. Our goal is postseason play.
And we are your home for all of the action.
Touchdown, Vandy. The doors on the board. Vandy, 24-21, your final.
Vanderbilt football lives on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Don't miss a minute of football action while getting up close and personal to the future stars of the PGA Tour. Join Penn Entertainment on site at the Simmons Bank Open, promoting Penn Play and their sports online betting platform. Stop by their tent in the Arctic Tailgate Village during the tournament to learn more and have a chance to win some prizes and giveaways. Must be 21 or older and in Tennessee. For problem gambling support, call Tennessee Redline, 1-800-899-9789.
The Game text line is driven by Wilson County Hyundai. Online at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. Be a part of the conversation. Call or text the Game at 615-737-1025.
The world is a vampire.
The world is a vampire tour. One massive show. The Smashing Pumpkins. Friday, September 8th, First Bank Amphitheater in Franklin, Tennessee. Special guests, Interpol. Rival Sons. The Smashing Pumpkins. On sale now at livenation.com. Part of the Farm Bureau Insurance Concert Series.
Are you drowning in credit card debt? Want to get cash out of your home's equity? Loan Pronto can do it now in less than a week. Hey, Willie Donick here. That's right. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit just got even faster. You can get $50,000, $100,000, even $200,000 in as little as 5 days. You don't even have to touch your primary mortgage. You can keep that 3% rate intact. Get just the money you need and pay off all those credit cards or get that home improvement project started. With this revolutionary program, you can access up to 90% of your home's value, and in most cases, there's no appraisal. Stop paying insane interest rates to the credit card companies and get tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash in as little as 5 days. Call Loan Pronto now for the even faster Equity Express line. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
In this market, you'll find Fisher Investments is different than other money managers.
Different how? Aren't we all just looking for the hottest stocks?
Nope. We use diversified strategies to position our clients' portfolios for their long-term goals.
You don't just provide cookie-cutter portfolios?
No. We tailor our clients' portfolios to their goals and needs.
But you still sell investments that generate high commissions for you, right?
No, we don't sell commission-based products. We're a fiduciary, the highest standard of care for a financial advisor. It means we're obligated to act in our client's best interest.
So when do you make more money? Only when your clients make more money?
Yep, we have one transparent management fee structured so we do better when our clients do better.
Sounds like you really look out for your clients.
We do, because our priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. That might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments, clearly different money management.
Investments in securities involve the risk of loss.
That's been here, before the transition was made to bring me here. And I thank those guys because, the day you're calling these guys in to let them know that they didn't make the 53 is a tough time for not only them but for us as well. And the overwhelming response when we were asking guys to potentially come back on our practice squad was yes. And they want to continue to work with our coaches. So that was a testament to them. So I want to thank all of our coaches for that. And then the scouting staff, our pro department, Brian Gardner, Kevin Turks, Brandon Taylor, Rob Ritterer, Aaron Sanders, Michael Johnson. Those guys did a ton of work. I want to thank them. I also want to thank Sarah Bailey in our R&D department. She's come in and kind of taking the bull by the horns and, making this analytics department hers. And she did a lot of work on basically bringing the data in with the scouting. And it's amazing how it married, how we liked guys that were high on her list just purely from an analytical standpoint. So it's truly been a collaborative effort, to get us this far. Feel good about where we are. Obviously there's still more work to be done. And, I don't think there's ever been an NFL team that once the roster was set that first day that made it through, the entire season that way. So we'll continue working to churn the roster and make the best decisions and build the best football team. So.
Can you talk about, 11 rookies overall? That's a fairly high number for a team that's, going into the season. That's about 20% of the roster. What went into keeping all 11 guys, all the draft class, and 5 undrafted?
I don't think we even looked at it that way. I think those guys earned their spot. I think if you turn on the tape and you watch them, not only in the games, but you guys were here at practice, and I think all those people that made plays and did things in practice where they earned their way. Nothing truly was given to anybody. You guys know how Mike is and how he goes about business. So, all of those guys, whatever the number was, they earned their way, and it just made it easy to make the decision.
What's he bring, and the kickoff situation the last couple of years for him has been kind of the downside. What do you envision there?
Well, Nick is a vet. He's kicked in, all types of weather, been in New York, been in New England, so he's someone that we trust to make kicks. And kickoffs is a part of his job. And, if they're not touchbacks, then we got, 10 people out there to cover them, and we expect them to do that.
What were considerations for trading for the kicker versus kind of waiting a day and seeing what happened on the wire? Just kind of what were those conversations like?
Well, like I said, our pro department did a ton of work and had us prepared for those scenarios of who may come available, who may not come available. I don't know the exact number off the top of my head. I have it written in the office. But there were several teams that had, 2 kickers on their roster, and, most teams are not going to keep 2. And so we did the research and felt good about our chances of getting someone here that we wanted to work with. And just another example of the collaborative process, well before we even made the, first moves to, release the kickers, got with Coach Ock and, Tom Quinn and Anthony Levine, and we had a running list of who we liked that could potentially come free, in terms of guys that were on teams. We had a list of guys that were on the street that we liked. So we had the position surrounded, from not only a scouting perspective, but from a coaching perspective, and felt good about getting someone here that we liked, that we felt could help us.
Well, evaluation of the young kickers, what's the plan with Cade York? How are you going to look to develop him over time?
Well, I think it's just like any other position, that we have on the roster. We have, 2 guys at outside linebacker. We have 3 guys, on the O-line that are, that we're here to develop. And I think Cade is no different. I don't think having Cade here on the practice squad has any effect on Nick, but he's just another young, talented player that we see talent in, that we love to develop and work with for the future.
And with a kid like that, obviously the talent is there, but there's something going on. Do you look into like sports psychology or anything like that for him?
Well, we have a staff here, Dr. Mondo, Coach Manu, and Dr. Sheila Peters. They're all here to, help our players. We have a great staff, and Frank and Todd, and they get these guys right from the neck down, and then we got a staff to help get them right from the neck up. So everybody has access to that, and, we're here to help develop Cade, whether that's on the field or off the field.
And where does he maybe fit in the group?
Kendall's just another guy that's played a ton of football in this league, started games. He can play outside, he can play inside, and it was just another way for us to get another talented players. As you guys know, you can never have enough corners, in this league. And so it was just an opportunity for us to, get better at that position and get guys in here that's played a lot of ball.
With those 2 young kickers, Rand, that you had through the offseason, is the evaluation of those guys just come down to, let's see what they do in these preseason games? And are you surprised by how it turned out based on what you thought of them going into the offseason?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like any other position. You want to give them the opportunity to earn their way. And, we saw them and felt like, we had a chance to upgrade the position. So we did. We released both at the same time, and then we brought in Michael Badgley. Gave him a shot at, just him being here by himself for a week, and gave him a shot. And again, we're never not looking, and that's at any position. And so we had the opportunity to get a guy like Nick Folk, who I said made a lot of kicks in this league. And so it's our job to always upgrade and get the best people here for us.
You talked about upgrading or developing Cade. How do you develop a kicker? You talked about 2 outside linebackers, but there are multiple outside linebackers that play at a time, or there are multiple outside linebackers that are up on a game day. How do you develop a kicker outside of just him kicking the ball here at practice?
If I told you how to develop a kicker, I'd be lying. I've never coached the position, so I don't know how do you develop a kicker. I just know that he's talented. He's made kicks in this league, and he's someone that Coach Ock and his staff want to work with. So that's our job as a personnel department, is to get talented people in here that our coaches want to work with. And how that development goes, when you guys have open practice, you can watch what Ock does, and that'll go into it. But I couldn't tell you how to do it.
So his development is on Ock?
Well, his development is on all of us in this building. You know what I mean? It's our job to get him here. Like I said, we have people that work with him from the neck down. We have people to work with him from the neck up. And so what we'll do is we'll continue to work with him, help him work through whatever it is that he's working through. But again, he's another young, talented player here that we want to work with, and hopefully has a future here.
This team has been a run-heavy type offense for several years, obviously with Derek, but this year only 3 tight ends and only 3 running backs on the 53-man roster. What kind of went into that decision?
Just playing with the numbers and where you can, again, create the best 53 and the best 16-man practice squad. At tight end, we're fortunate enough to get, Rader back, get Thomas O back, so we have guys there that we believe in and trust. And, running back is just a position that we went light. Like you mentioned, Derek, Derek's carried the load here, since he's been here, so he factors in there a lot. But again, it's manipulating the roster, and like I said, numbers are not finished. Doesn't mean that we can't continue to make moves. It's just where we are right now.
Knowing you still may do some tinkering, how do you feel about how this franchise has addressed the issues that last year's team had going into the opener?
Well, I think that was the number one thing in coming in here, and being in this role, was to, address the things that we felt needed to be addressed. I felt like we did that, and again, the work's not done, so we'll continue to do that. We had 3 different wires yesterday, so still pouring through that. It's a lot of names, to go through, and I've challenged the pro department to continue to look for guys that we like, that we had some level of like for, that maybe we thought potentially would get claimed and ended up on somebody's practice squad. So we'll continue to work that, and I'm sure we'll be talking a lot more about different moves that we'll make throughout the coming weeks. But that's our goal, and that's our job every day, is to find the best people to bring here.
Coincidence that your 2
vets are coming from Chicago, or did you have maybe extra good eye?
Nah, I think it's purely a coincidence. Obviously we played those guys in the first preseason game, and if I'm not mistaken, I think Travis had 2 sacks. One of them kind of pissed me off. I won't go into it, but it pissed me off. And so when the opportunity came and we saw him, we saw him as someone that fit our scheme, which was a cool thing. And then, just doing the research, understanding, feeling like we understand where Chicago is going as a defense, and the possibility of getting, Vildor and having a guy in that plays, multiple positions for us at the corner spot, helps us.
First, how do you think he's kind of developed in the couple months since he's been here, and then how do you like what looks to be your starting O-line right now?
Peter is who we thought he was going to be. He's just a consummate pro from the moment he stepped in. He's been a young vet, if you will. Just the way he goes about his business, the way he prepares, the way he works. He came in and had to learn our way and how we want things to be done, and some techniques that he may not have done before at Northwestern. But he's bought in. He works his tail off, and he's about where we expected him to be. And then just overall, again, our coaches do a hell of a job of developing these guys and getting the buy-in. And I truly mean it when I say it. It's not smoke. To sit there with these young men that we brought into the room, and Mike and I talking to them, it was a cool experience and overwhelmingly, positive experience with every guy who's been here. And it kind of permeates throughout the league. Like, people want to be here. You know what I mean? And that's a testament to our coaches and the way they go about their business. There's never not a moment where these players don't know where they stand, don't know what the expectation is. And so that makes it, as a former player, that makes it easy to go out and do your job when you know exactly what they want and what you're being coached to do.
You got 2 guys who are local guys from here. How cool was that it worked out that way?
What's funny is, obviously knowing, Colton, is from here. I'll be perfectly honest with you. I had no clue that Matt Jackson was, and Mike was telling him on the week, because we actually brought a couple of the undrafted guys in to tell them that they made it, and had a couple cool moments, with those guys. And when Mike was, when we were walking Matt Jackson out, and Mike was like, Hillsborough High, to me, I'm from Florida. Hillsborough High is in Tampa, so I immediately like, oh, Florida boy. And then Mike said some other things, and it dawned on me. I was like, oh, he is from here. And then to get a text from his agent, who's locally based, and how cool of a moment that was. Those moments, man, is what this game is about. Guys, I remember the guy who came out of my recruiting class, Vernon Carey. Vernon played at Northwestern High, went to University of Miami, and was drafted by the Dolphins, so he never left home. And so those stories are cool, and it's very rare that you get those in our league, and happy to share in that moment with these guys.
It's not necessarily common to bring guys in to say you made it as opposed to you didn't make it. You phrase those calls to bring them in a little differently as to not scare them, and how did you guys decide to do that?
No, we just thought that it was a good gesture. These guys have worked their tails off, and like I said, as a former player, having been through it, and feeling like you made the initial roster, and then only to come into a meeting and find out like there's still 20 more cuts to be made, kind of drops your heart. So I understood where these guys would be, wherever they're at the hotel or just trying to find something to do around town to pass the time. And so we thought it would be a cool gesture, and we brought a few of those guys in, and kind of, we started every moment with every guy with gratitude. Showing our appreciation for the work that they did, the time and the sacrifices they put in here, and kind of just phrase it like, hey, your situation's a little different. Today we just want to inform you that you made the 53. But with that came instructions on how to stay on the 53. And so we wanted to share those moments again. Mike and the staff do a very good job of letting these guys know what the expectation is.
But when they got the call to come in, they had a hint that they weren't coming in to get bad news?
I don't know what the hint was. We tell, Max Curtis does, he calls the guys, and we kind of just tell them like, hey, like, don't say anything. Just say, hey, Mike and Rand need to see you. Can you come in and allow us to deliver the message? And so I'm sure that they, They thought they were being cut probably. I know that's what I would have felt. But it was a cool moment to really share with those guys, and, we're extremely proud of them.
Brandon, you mentioned a lot of positives from this week and some of the brighter spots, but the other side, the tougher side, was it as difficult, more difficult than you anticipated?
No, it was difficult, right? Because you got to understand, a lot of these guys, this is their first time being told no, from any level of ball, and so it's tough. It's tough to deliver that news, and it should never be easy. And I think if it ever gets easy, then I need to check myself. But we try to do it in a way to bring the human approach. And again, that's why we lead with gratitude, thanking them for, the work that they put in here. So it never gets easy. And I think these young men, they know, kind of where it is. But again, it's the honesty and the transparency that we share with them as into the why they didn't make it and where we see them. That again, it when it's time, this is a revolving door, and some of these guys could very well end up being being back here, at some point. So we would think that we left even the guys that we didn't bring back in a way that the guys, if the opportunity presented itself, that they would want to come back.
What's the kind of Cliff Notes version on what you told guys about what they have to do to stick around?
No, I mean, it's not a time to relax. Just because you made the initial 53. I think it was, Tuesday? It was just, hey, this is the 53 for Tuesday. Tomorrow's a different day. The waiver hadn't come out yet, and gave a couple position-specific things for them to continue to work on, whether it's here on the field, whether it's in the weight room with Frank, and just how to go about their business. Like, they have to continue to work. It's not a time to relax.
Ran a lot of core pieces on this team are free agents after this season, the veteran players. Have there been discussions about extending some of those players ahead of the start of the season?
No, we haven't had any of those discussions yet. My first time in this role, I'm still getting to know, a lot of these guys, and I lean heavily on Mike with the guys that have been here. But more than anything, our focus is to get to the point where we are now, just in terms of, putting the best roster that'll get us ready for next week and the start of the season. And then just allowing these guys to play, and, I've said it, a few times, we won't negotiate in public, when it comes to these guys and their job security or lack thereof or whatever it may be. But if these guys earn, opportunity to have those, those talks, there are guys that you earmark that you hope play well, that you can enter those conversations, but, we'll enter those conversations when the time presents itself.
Do you have conversations during the season, or are you a guy that puts all that on pause during the season?
I think in this day and age, man, you have to, at least establish contact with the agent and say, hey, here's what we're thinking, and just take every case, on a case-by-case basis, because, again, you don't want that to become a distraction, particularly for a guy that may be playing well, and then you start the conversation and it may not go. You guys have been around a while. You understand, you have your relationships, the art of negotiation, we're going to piss the agent off, the agent's going to piss us off, and if, you don't want that to affect the player. So you have to be strategic in how you approach those conversations.
DeAndre's fit into the culture of the team, and what's maybe something you learned about him over the last couple of months?
Hop's been great. He's been great. He's a worker. And just the way he carries himself, in and outside of the building. You see him on the field. He's not a dude that does a whole lot of talking. But if you know Hop, he's a fun-loving, good dude. He's got jokes. But it's been a joy, having him around. I'm pretty sure when he first got here, some of the young receivers made him feel like an old head. I remember walking through like one of his first days here, and one of the young guys, I kind of walked by him and I was like, oh man, I remember growing up watching him play, and I'm sure that makes him feel old, but he embraces all those young guys, and he's pulling people, along with him, and he's just been great to have around.
With Ryan Tannehill, you guys traded up to get Levis the year before. They traded up to get Willis. How has he handled that situation, just knowing that there's a future replacement for him on the roster?
Ryan's the consummate pro, and again, it starts with the open line of communication between Ryan and Mike, and knowing, where we are and how we see things. And Ryan's focused on, being the best version of himself. You got to understand he's coming in, he has a new quarterback coach. So there are some new things that he's learning, a new system. I'm sure Ryan isn't focused on who we drafted, last year or this year. Ryan's focused on this upcoming season and how he can be the best version of himself for us.
From the evaluation side, just what did you see from Malik and Will this preseason?
I thought Malik has grown. There were conversations had with Malik prior to me being hired that I were made privy to, and just watching him take that to heart. I thought he had a really good offseason. OTAs, and prior to OTAs, he was never not in the building. He was never not here around town working and pulling guys with him and having the receivers with him. And I think that's shown, in his play on the field. And Will is continuing to grow. A rookie, learning a new system. I think this is maybe the third or fourth offense he's been in as many years. So he's learning the NFL game, and I think, the way he works and the way he fits into that room, I think he'll be fine.
7 months or so into a job you've always wanted to have, how has that experience been for you so far?
It's been cool. It really has, and I say it every time. I'm in a lucky spot, to come into a place that's, pretty much established and has a culture. And, myself, Chad, and A-Rod, we get to come in and add our flavor, to it, and and bring it all together. It's a collaborative effort. Mike and I, we're never not talking. We're never not going through scenarios, and having someone like that to lean on, in situations, and even piecing the roster together, and having conversations with the coaches is made it fun. It's been a fun process. We're undefeated, so everything's great. If in the event, we lose a couple games in a row, we'll have another conversation then to see how it's going. But it's been great, and I'm extremely thankful to be here.
All right, that was Rand Carthon, Titans general manager, doing his kind of start of the season press conference, hit on a lot of different things and how they got to the 53-man roster and the tweaks that they will make. We'll pause 10 seconds for station identification. It's Chase McCabe Show, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne.
Ross Chastain will be first to finish in the Ally 500 at Nashville Super Speedway.
Nashville's exclusive home for NASCAR. 102.5 and 106.3.
Checkered flag is in the air.
Man, this is a win in the cup race.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Let's head back to St. Thomas Sports Park and head coach Mike Vrabel.
As with him, but what he meant maybe to the game of football, and especially the way the NFL is played today.
Well, condolences to him and his family, the Cowboys organization. Gil was, somebody that I met coming out of college. I met him at the Walter Camp All-American Banquet and spent the weekend with him. Just his passion for football was infectious. You could tell how much he loved the game and loved being around it.
Do you feel now, having Nick Folk on the roster and Cade York coming onto the practice squad, how do you feel about your kicker situation at this point?
Well, Nick's our kicker. Nick is our kicker, and feel really good about him and about what he's done and what he will do. Just felt like it was a good opportunity to bring Cade in here to allow him to develop and work and see where he's at.
Is Nick going to be your kick offer?
Nick is our kicker. We don't have a kick offer.
Kickoffs have been an issue for him over the last couple of years. Do you anticipate he can get better at it, or
I don't know if that. Well? I don't know if that's been something that's an issue. I think that whatever they were asking him to do, I think we feel comfortable. Whether we're going to kick a touchback or whether we're going to go cover kicks and wherever we do it at.
What you guys like about Vildor? What kind of skill set is he?
Was a competitive coverage player, veteran, has played snaps, and kind of looking at where we were with Anthony Kendall and his contributions in special teams and allowing him to make it onto the roster. I just felt like we needed to add a veteran guy, and Kendall showed well in his preseason exposure, and is a veteran that's played in this league.
How about Trevis Gibson? Things continue to develop there. What are some things that you like about him that wanted to make you bring him in?
We'll keep you updated on that transaction when it happens.
Is there any special challenge that comes with having 11 rookies on the roster and getting so many young guys who've never seen any real NFL action ready?
Yeah, I'm sure there is. The biggest thing, just continue to try to talk to them about whether they're, let's say on the offensive, package or the show team, how critical those show team reps are for their development, for them to improve. Trying to talk to them about preparing as a starter each and every day that they come in here, the work that they're going to have to put in, how they're going to have to work harder now that they're here than they did to try to get here. That's the whole goal. But once the season starts, there's not that many reps. There's not as many reps as there was in training camp. So trying to use those show team opportunities to really improve and develop.
What's like the mindset shift now that you got the preseason behind you, a lot of moves behind you, now you've got a game, regular season game coming up in about 10 days. How's the mood maybe changing the building, the approach?
I hope the mood hasn't changed. I hope we come work prepared and ready to go with some energy, with enthusiasm, with a willingness to learn and improve and study the game plan, study our opponents, and transition that to the practice field and work on, timing and precision, and continue to work on all the things that we believe are important to winning.
How do you like the way Ryan Tannehill has been, just as far as like staying locked in, despite knowing that Levis is on the roster, Willis is on the roster, future replacements for him? How do you like the way he's been locked in with
Yeah, I don't, all the other stuff. I think the most important thing is that Ryan is locked in. Ryan is focused. I love where his attitude is. I love his demeanor. I love his communication with the receivers. I love his communication with Tim. So excited about his season and him playing quarterback for us.
How about the communication with you, just as far as like always knowing where he stands regardless of whatever background?
Talk to him about different things on and off the field. How he feels, you would have to ask him. I hope it's the same. I don't see any issues. I like the way that he approaches practice and approaches his job, and very professional. Means a lot to him.
Is Kearse your opening day punt return?
Well, we're, like Jimmy mentioned, 10 days away, so we'll kind of see where we're at in 10 days.
7 guys in that room. What was the kind of the thinking behind that on the initial 53 of that many?
Just different things of getting guys on the roster and kind of carry Kyle for a day, and so that's how it looks. It's now 6 after the first 24 hours.
Mike, the challenge of seeing potential.
Go ahead.
Thanks. What have you learned about DeAndre in his time with the team and how he's maybe even taken on a leadership role, even though he's kind of a newbie to kind of your system?
Who's that?
DeAndre.
Oh, Hop. Yeah. I apologize. Have really just enjoyed his professionalism, his the way that he's practiced, his communications with Ryan, the receivers, communication with Tim. I mean, he's run a lot of these routes and run a lot of these plays, and enjoy the competitiveness that he shows in practice. So by seeing that, I know that it means something to him, and I appreciate the time that we've had together, and we'll continue to work and try to give him opportunities to help us win. It's been good addition.
Mike, you were quoted in a piece in the Ringer today about saying that turning the football over is a non-negotiable. With Malik, while he's made a lot of improvements, turned the football over in the preseason. How much is that a focus over the next 10 days if he is going to be your backup quarterback?
Well, one, I appreciate you keeping up on me and following. But I don't think I said non-negotiable. I said that's just how you'll lose maybe I said non-negotiable. I don't remember. It was one of the couple interviews that I did. It has to improve. You know what I mean? It has to. And he knows that. All the good things that Malik did, he knows that. And again, there can be, I'm trying to make a play, but at some point in time, we just have to make them good ones and learn from them, not make the same mistake twice. And just knowing coverages and say, I'm not forcing it in there. I'm just going to live to fight another day. I'm going to check it down. But also there's some elements to, you have to throw it into some spaces down the field. And one thing that we had talked about coming out of Minnesota with those things that we were looking to improve on was our ability to try to move the ball down the field. So we took the shot to Chris, which was great. You know, Chris came back. The defender wasn't playing the ball. Chris did a great job, did what we coached him to do. They threw it in there to Nick. Nick ran through the catch. So a lot of great positive things, and then we have to eliminate some of those things. And then also, you know, like we tell every quarterback, when it breaks down, you got to have two hands on the ball. You got to, you know, pull through some arm tackles, and you know, we can't be loose with the ball. Same thing we tell Derek. Same thing we'll tell, you know, Julius and DeAndre and Chig and everybody that carries it. So, you know, we understand that we have to be better and improve our ball security. We also have to improve, you know, our ability to disrupt the football and turn it over. And we have to hit them hard enough to knock it loose. We have to knock it off the quarterback. We have to tip some passes and intercept them, and we have to, you know, make some plays in the deep part of the field. Loved how he's worked to get back, and just, you know, again, he just kept saying, hey, I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready. And it's like, you know, this is kind of the conversations that you have with players, and, you know, it's been good to see him work extremely hard to get out there and push and find ways to get in as opposed to looking for ways to get out. And he was like, just give me a chance. Let me get out there. Let me practice. Let me work. And I mean, he even took some team reps yesterday and, you know, came through that really good. And we'll get some more in there today. So, again, we'll just keep working him in there, see how he responds to the work. And the other thing I really appreciate is we've had guys that are working with him now back at practice where, you know, Jeff Simmons can go over there to the side and work three-quarter speed and say, I know that this guy's just now getting back. What can I do to help you? Whether that's pass rushers that are just coming off the ball and maybe not going full speed or going through contact or doing some things to help them. So I appreciate that from the players, and I thank them as well.
Is he a guard first at this point?
We'll see where he goes when he gets back. I mean, he's worked at both positions yesterday in the few reps that he had.
Mike, I know a lot of people were kind of surprised to see just 3 tight ends kept on the roster, given there's no fullback on this team this year, and you know, the way that this team's run a lot of 2 tight end sets in the past. Is that maybe indicative of what the new offense is going to demand in terms of personnel, or is that just the way that the chips fell this year?
Well, we felt like that's kind of where it was coming out of camp. That could change. You know, the practice squad gives you, you know, we tried to, you know, Rand and I, his staff and our coaching staff tried to go through and, you know, give us insulation at each position to where we felt like, okay, who would be the next guy in, who's his backup, who's his replacement, who could we, you know, put in there through the course of the week if we needed to. So that's where it is today, and that could change next week and throughout the season.
Building the practice
squad. Like Otis Reese, and you know, what's the challenge of seeing potential in a guy who, you know, somebody thought was kind of between positions?
In between which positions?
Just like safety and linebacker.
Yeah, I think Otis is going to work hard to be a linebacker and a special teams player, and, you know, it was really cool to see him and Chance and Monty. You know, Monty coming back finally. Get those reps and be Werner and be Davis yesterday in a show team opportunity, and showed them tape of how those guys play and how quickly they see pullers and how quickly they get back into coverage. And, you know, I thought just those guys getting back into and playing linebacker, there's a lot of good players that have played on this show team and developed and improved that way.
Is whatever Monty was dealing with behind him now?
Well, in this particular case, yes, but I will say, not to this matter, but we're always going to have things that we deal with outside of here, or we deal with injuries. It's part of life. It's part of professional sports. So when Monty was healthy, he returned, and that's where we're at. And so we have to make sure that he's prepared to help us going forward in the football game.
I asked it that way because he indicated that it wasn't an injury.
Well, I don't know if he didn't say that. I just, when Monty was healthy, Monty returned to practice, and when he was ready to go and cleared, So, however he phrased it, that's up to him. And again, we expect Monty to be out there and be, use his speed, use his, explosiveness, and practice. Got some team reps on our side and got some on the show team, and it's going to start off and knows that he has to be a dynamic special teams player for us that can run and then work his way in there defensively.
What did Xavier Newman show you in camp and preseason to make the jump from being a practice squad guy to the 53?
Just the competitiveness, his ability to play center and guard, and it was those between him and Roos and Ruppy, I thought those guys all improved, and they'll continue to compete and battle. As we work our way through the season, and so we just felt like, coming out of camp that, that's where we were.
For Levis and Willis, shifting to so much game focus, how do you go about handling their reps and getting their development?
I think that's interesting. We've tried to, give them both opportunities, trying to find where places where Brian maybe could not take as many reps, also trying to do some things with some younger guys based on health and receivers and defensive backs, 7-on-7, after practice, and try to get some of those throws in. And, because it is a challenge to try to get two young guys developed, but make sure that, they're also getting the reps that they need to be ready for the game.
Rules changed, the way you build a practice squad from when you first took over to the rules that they've had since COVID, and you've used that practice squad a lot over the last couple of years. So when you went about building this roster with Rand and making the final 53, did you think and approach it differently, knowing how to use the practice squad?
Well, I don't know if we've approached it any differently, but I would say that there's certainly guys that you think they're a developmental player, and you're going to give them some time, and they'll determine how much time that they get based on their effort and based on their improvement, their attitude, and all those things. And then there's probably another group that you say would feel comfortable probably putting them into the game on short notice if you needed to. So
about Traylon's progress?
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Mike.
What do you?
I thought there was another question there. I guess not. Thought he was going to say something about Traylon Burks.
No, he walked off the podium.
Okay. I guess he didn't like that question.
No, he did not.
All right. That was Mike Vrabel, Titans head coach. We'll react to that. You can react to that, 615-737-1025. That's our phone and text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Here on Chase McCabe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Hey, are you seeking relief? Maybe you just want to enhance your day or night. Did you know there are legal THC products available right here in Tennessee? Yeah, really. You can have legal THC products shipped directly to the comfort of your home. Yes, comfort in cannabis is only a website away. Visit greentreescompany.com. That's Green Trees with a Z, and change your life today.
Some people put off things that need doing. Not you. Harbor Freight knows you're a today's the day kind of person. An I'm on it kind of person. A bring it kind of person. So if you're rolling up your sleeves today and you don't want to overpay for tools, you're a Harbor Freight kind of person. Whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight.
Arthritis and rheumatic conditions are leading causes of disabilities among adults. Joint replacement could be the solution. The team at Houston Clinic Orthopedics approaches each case with a complete evaluation to see if surgery is right for you. Houston Clinic Orthopedics specializes in arthritis, hip, knee, and shoulder replacements, hip fractures, osteoarthritis of the hip, and joint pain. To experience world-class orthopedic care and see a list of all physicians, visit their website at tn.houston.com and book your appointment online today.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Vanderbilt football lives here.
This Saturday, it's Vandy and Alabama A&M at First Bank Stadium. Kickoff at 6. Pre-game coverage begins at 4:30.
Your home for the Commodores is 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Chase McCabe.
He did not want to rehearse, and he wanted to leave as soon as possible.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Chase McCabe, 102.5, 106.3, The Game. Mike Vrabel ran Carthon, their press conferences. Now they'll have practice as it's officially time to get ready for week 1 of the NFL, which will be next week. They'll play the New Orleans Saints. A couple of things that kind of stood out to me, especially with Vrabel. I mean, they both talked about kickers, but Vrabel made it very clear Nick Folk is our kicker. Even though Cade York is on the practice squad. So clearly there's, something that you want to bring in a second guy to have on the practice squad and take a spot on the practice squad. But then Nick Folk is the kicker. Jared followed up with, and I like how he worded this, who is he the kick offer? Because we know that he has, not been, he's, whether it was strategy or he just doesn't have a strong leg, he doesn't hit it into the end zone on kickoffs. So I kind of threw out earlier, maybe you call Cade York up on game days. He does kickoffs and long field goals. And Vrabel, kind of got brustled and said he's our kicker. So the question, I think, isn't really answered with that. I think Nick Folk will be fine, but beyond 50, I'm not sure. And that continues to be a problem. The Titans don't seem to think that's a problem, but we'll see. I thought it was interesting too of talking about roster construction and using the practice squad in a different way because it is it's different rules when it comes to the practice squad now than it was pre-COVID, and so I think that's certainly something that they can use to their advantage. And you've seen that with some of the additions that they've made over the last few days. Neither one of them really wanted to talk about Travis Gibson because that's not official yet. I would expect that – I wouldn't be surprised at all if an email comes out in the next few hours making it official. I'm not worried about that. But, they have to be careful with roster rules and, because then they got to make a corresponding move and all those things before it can be official. But we opened the show talking about Travis Gibson. I really like this move as a depth piece for the pass rush and the defensive line. What he can add to the group. I think he plays much better in a 3-4 than a 4-3, and so with the Titans defense the way it is, I think that's going to be a good addition. You look at he only had 3 sacks last year in 17 games with Chicago, but that they had switched to the 4-3 at that point. in 2021, when he was basically playing a left outside linebacker for Chicago in the 3-4, he had 7 sacks. So he had 39 combo tackles, 23 solo, 7 quarterback hits. Now he did get to he had 11 quarterback hits last year. So, I think 10 sacks in the last 2 years, that's certainly something that you want to add to that pass rush. So I like that move that the Titans have made. Is they've now acquired a couple of players from Chicago that they'll be adding. The other being cornerback Kendall Vildor, which I don't really know anything about him. The 4th-year man out of Georgia Southern, had been with the Bears, but I can't tell you too much about him. I know he had he had 19 tackles last year. He has 62 in his career, 1 career interception, which came last year. So he had that with Chicago, but played in 11 games for the Bears last year. Did play in 17 in 2021 and 16 in 2020. So see what kind of depth he can add to the secondary as Rand Carthon and Mike Vrabel make their roster adjustments. But overall, nothing too telling, I would say, from either one of them. Carthon talked a little bit about, that Jared asked about, had he talked to any of the guys that are going to be free agents after this year, and he said no. But then he said, as the year goes on, that's when you start having communications. And look, that's Ryan Tannehill, that's Derrick Henry. Those are probably the 2 biggest ones that may have to be addressed. But I'll be curious of kind of that process as they move forward when it comes to that in the future of the Tennessee Titans. Coming up next, we heard the question at the end and never got an answer on Treylon Burks, but could he be available for Week 1 for the Titans? We will discuss that coming up next. Chase McCabe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Nashville's radio version of The Odd Couple.
You would trade for the 3rd pick? Yeah, I don't know that I would do that.
Robbie Stanley and Joe Rexrode are Robbie and Rexrode.
I'm here for the discussion. I'm not. It's a good one. It's absurd.
Robbie and Rexrode, mornings from 6 to 9.
Win the games. When they get in the playoff, they'll have a chance to.
Presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
College football Week 1 is here, and you need to use Superbook Sports, because why bet with the big boys this football season when you can try your hand with the local book, Superbook Sports. Superbook is the book next door, just a dedicated team of the best odds makers in Las Vegas, making sure that you get the best prices and parlays that you will find anywhere. It's why it's my official sports book and that I love using it so much. Now, Superbook will give you a bonus of up to $250 when you sign up and wager on the same day and use the promo code CHASE, C-H-A-S-E. That is my name. Use that promo code CHASE to get $250 when you sign up, wager, and all on the same day. So, bet with the best. Use that promo code CHASE this football season with Superbook Sports. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
So, if there's brunch, why isn't there dinner?
Or dunch, for that matter.
No, we know why there's no dunch.
Why is that?
People might get confused and miss brunch.
And I never want to miss a brunch this good.
Me either. Cheers.
Kitchen Notes at the Omni Nashville Hotel. Breakfast buffet Monday through Thursday from 7 till 10:30 a.m. and lunch from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Weekend brunch Friday through Sunday from 7 a.m. till 2 p.m. featuring cast iron pancakes, made-to-order waffles, and eggs and carafes of mimosas. Treat yourself today to Kitchen Notes at the Omni Nashville Hotel.
We're losing too many of our friends, neighbors, and loved ones to fentanyl poisoning. Nearly 75% of overdose deaths in Nashville involve fentanyl, but you can save a life with training and naloxone. STARS, Nashville's regional overdose prevention specialists, are here to teach you how to recognize and respond to an overdose and how you can save a life. Call 615-393-6980 or visit starsnashville.org. This project is funded under a grant contract with the State of Tennessee Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services.
The Nashville Sheriff wants to pay you $55,700 a year. Now hiring correctional officers. Positions are available immediately. You must be 21 and over with a high school diploma or a GED. Come, join our family and earn $55,700 after paid training and probation. Apply now at sheriff.nashville.gov/apply or call 615-862-8170. Stop searching. Apply now. The Nashville Sheriff.
Hey, this is the Fat Jack, and it's finally the start of football season and a great time for you to ask yourself, how did last year go? If you were just guessing and you lost money betting on the games, now is the time to go to FatJackSports.com. Before you dig yourself a hole, you can start the season heading into profit. For $50 a week, you can make money betting the games. Go to FatJackSports.com and get consistent winners emailed to you or sent via text that will get you into profit. FatJackSports.com today.
Hey, do you need to listen on the go? Download the Game Nashville app from your app store today, and you can listen to us anywhere in the world. It's that simple. What an age we live in.
Chase McCabe on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
There's a throwback. Chase McCabe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, broadcasting live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. You can weigh in on anything that we're talking about on our phone and text line, 615-737-1025, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. A lot of Titans talk today with Rand Carthon and Mike Vrabel talking, but tune in to 93.3 Classic Hits this Saturday for MTSU football. They kick off their season at 6:30 on the road against Alabama. Pregame beginning at 5:30, and you can hear all the coverage on 93.3 Classic Hits and the Classic Hits app and 93.3classichits.com. So looking forward to that. And Big Joe, the color analyst, will be in tomorrow with me once again as well. And we'll get his thoughts on that before he heads down to Tuscaloosa. So looking forward to that. But Traylon Burks, could he be available for week one? He has practiced a little bit. I mean, Paul Kuharsky from paulkuharsky.com was on Robbie and Rexford yesterday talking about that. If you'd have told us that, less than 2 weeks from the injury that he's already, running around again and looking good, that he landed on the knee, and there was nothing bad that happened there, that I wouldn't have believed that. Because, I think a lot of us thought that he might have gotten hurt and been out for the year with that injury, but that wasn't the case at all. But this was Traylon Burks on what his biggest fear was before he figured out what the injury in fact was.
I saw when the injury happened, and Mike Vrabel, he said that, once you got the diagnosis, there was a good bit of relief. Yeah. What were you fearing at first?
Just knowing, I've already been through an ACL injury before, and it's just scary when you hurt your knee. And I was just thankful, prayed, and God always comes through with his blessings, and everything was okay. So.
That was from Teron Davenport asking that question. So, look, that was kind of my thought too. Of did he blow his ACL out? Is it something worse? And the fact that it was an LCL sprain was the best case scenario, and that's how Mike Vrabel put it. And so let's think about this for a second. If Phillips, is not going to be available, which we don't believe he is, Burks is. Now, he could be on a snap count potentially, but who knows? So you have Hopkins, Burks as your two. They could call up Kinsey if they wanted to, but I kind of feel like they're going to run with what they have. Chris Moore will probably get some plays. I will be curious if they're going to use Kieras Jackson more as the return man, or if we could see him actually line up at receiver. Same with Colton Dowell. Will they all be active, on game day? I think that is something that they're probably still figuring out as they go here. But I don't know how. It's hard to say how good the options actually are, but they certainly do have the options when it comes to that position going into week one. Again, whether and obviously Nick Westbrook-Akina will factor into that too. and get some plays. So, I mean, because you can put – the other thing, too, is Hopkins can play the slot. So you could put Westbrook-Akina and Burks outside or Chris Moore, what have you, and then put D-Hop in the slot. So they have some options. Chig will obviously be factoring into the passing game too. So we even without Kyle Phillips, if they have Traylon Burks available, that will be big. Here was Burks with TD on what he was doing to stay involved.
What have you been doing to kind of stay involved and ready to go whenever your time is going to come?
Going to meetings, lifting weights, conditioning as much as I can, and just being in tune with everything. Just making sure that I hear the little details that they give me or give the guys around me, and just making sure I'm just staying locked in.
That's like the hardest part when you're injured and you're out and you can't be on the practice field. Is just, making sure you're involved, paying attention in meetings, maybe having extra meetings with your position coach. And, I'm sure he and Tannehill have been talking, and he and D-Hop have been talking of, okay, well, this happened today, and, here's what you would do in this situation. And because, the other part of this too is he's a second-year guy, and he missed some significant time in his rookie year. So he's still learning. Like, we're putting a lot of pressure and hope on Traylon Burks, and that comes with being a first-round pick, and I think he's more than capable of it. But we also have to understand that he's still a developing player as an NFL receiver. And the fact that he missed some time last year and now he's missed some time in training camp, that's all – he's got to overcome that. It comes with it, but he's also got to overcome it. And so how far along in his development, is he? I think we all saw the improvement in the offseason. The fact that he had a full offseason with the Titans, that he wasn't training for the combine, that he was actually training, to play football and not having to worry about the Underwear Olympics. I think you saw the steps that he had taken forward. But, when Chris Sanders was on earlier, we were talking about Reggie Roberson, that he practiced well, but then it wasn't showing up in the games. It's now got to show up in the games. And I think it will, but we got to see it. We got to see him make the big catch that he got hurt on, and not get hurt, but that he got hurt on last year for a touchdown. Be able to go in there and make those contested catches and make the big-time plays that go with being a first-round pick and being a number one or a number two receiver, however you want to look at it on this team. Because, he and D-Hop, to me, are 1A and 1B, and that's what they need to be. And they need to push each other. Somebody's got to, I like using this phrase, but reach up there and grab that proverbial brass ring and be the guy for the Titans when it comes to the passing game. And there's also no reason, I know this offense, maybe it's changed, maybe it hasn't, but even the year that Derrick Henry ran for 2,000 yards, you still had 2,000-yard receiver, or almost 2,000-yard receivers in this offense with A.J. Brown and Corey Davis. Corey Davis was one drop catch away from being a 1,000-yard receiver. To me, and that's with Ryan Tannehill, to me there's no reason that you couldn't have D-Hop and Traylon Burks both get over 1,000. Now, that's going to start with the offensive line. Does Ryan Tannehill have time to get the ball out and get it to those guys? That's the big if, and time will tell. But yeah, Texter said Chase Phillips is on IR, definitely not available. I never said he was. I said he was on IR. So I do have it together, dude. Appreciate it, though. But I did say that going through this. But, a betting question. Caleb and Gallatin, would you sprinkle a little money on the Titans to have the most regular season sacks? Odds are at plus 2,500 on FanDuel.
Yes.
I would. Yeah, you would?
I would. I wouldn't hesitate at all about that.
I like that. I like that a lot.
And who sent that in?
Caleb and Gallatin.
Caleb and Gallatin. Great text. That's phenomenal right there, man.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like that.
But Chase, to your point,
I think I might do that. Go ahead.
I'm saying to your point about Traylon Burks and his injury, that's something Chris Sanders alluded to a little earlier about the mental aspect of it. He's going to have to get over that hump, and you've kind of alluded to it as well. But, as we heard of that clip from TD there, whatever they're giving him, the mental reps he's taken, like he seems to be in a different headspace from last season. And we've already harped on this all summer long. But, I mean, it's good to hear that right there from TD. It's a reassurance from the man himself, Treylon Burks, that, this is a different me. That's what I'm hearing out of it. And especially, I don't know if you've seen on Twitter or not, but the first practice back, he had a one-hand catch and landed on the leg that he hurt. So, I mean, he's in a different headspace, and it's a good one if you're a Titans fan.
I agree. I think that I think he's in a much different place, in a better place. He's confident, and confidence is everything. That can take you a long way. He believes that he can do it. Another texter says, already making excuses for Tannehill. Stop it. How am I making excuses for Tannehill? Is it not a fact that if the offensive line doesn't give him time to throw, I don't care if it's Peyton Manning back there. I mean, you got to have an offensive line that's going to give the quarterback time. If there's no time, then you're forcing passes or you're handing the ball off to Henry. I'm not making excuses for Tannehill. I get so tired of just the anti-Tannehill crew. Like, I get it. He threw 3 interceptions in a playoff game when you were the number 1 seed in a game that you should have won. I was pissed off too. But guess what? He's still the starting quarterback, so move on and let's focus on the now. Like, there are no excuses. If he doesn't go out there and get it done, he's going to get replaced. There's 2 other guys behind him. Now, I don't like those options as starting quarterbacks right now, but that's where there are. They've drafted quarterbacks the last 2 years to try and replace him in the future. But right now, he continues to be the best option. So trust me, there are no excuses being made for Ryan Tannehill. He's got to perform, but the unnecessary there's a group that, just has decided that he sucks and he should never play quarterback again, and I disagree with that. He is the best option for the Tennessee Titans right now. So I am ready. Now that the roster is set for the most part, let's just kick the game off and then have a game to talk about, and then maybe some of this stuff will be answered, or we'll have other things to complain about. But the off-season talk is almost done. Thank goodness for that. Nick, why don't we give something away? You feel like giving something away? Feeling in a good mood?
Might as well. I mean, it's silly underdog picks day. We got to throw something out there.
I know. I gotta look and find my underdog. Let's give away a pair of tickets to see Rob Zombie and Alice Cooper at Bridgestone Arena on September 12th. Caller number 5 at 615-737-1025 will win a pair of tickets to see Rob Zombie and Alice Cooper at Bridgestone on September 12th. Good luck with that. And coming up next, we'll look at some college football Week 1 games tonight. I'll give you some best bets. There are some intriguing ones, that is for sure. Be sure to tune into 102.5 and 106.3 The Game this Saturday for Vanderbilt, as the Commodores will kick off at 6 o'clock at home against Alabama A&M. Pregame coverage beginning at 4:30. You can hear all the coverage on the 102.5 The Game app and on thegamenashville.com.
It's a long summer, but don't worry. Hockey will be back soon. You'll hear every slap shot, save, hit, and of course,
knocked down in front, rebound, and a score!
On your home for Smashville, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Is it October yet?
You know it's going to happen, and when your car needs service or repair, remember Mitchell's Mr. Transmission on Gallatin Road, just north of Briley Parkway. Now here's Jim Mitchell.
At Mitchell's Mr. Transmission, we also offer free towing with any major repairs. If your vehicle has a breakdown and you should need any type towing is available through Dad's Towing Service. Dad's is a professional towing company in Nashville that provides all types towing and recovery, 24 hours a day.
You know it's going to happen, and when your car needs service or repair, remember Mitchell's Mr. Transmission on Gallatin Road, just north of Briley Parkway.
312 Pizza Company is a proud sponsor of Nashville Sounds Baseball on 102.5 The Game.
We said 1,500 hours.
Dax's hangar flies high thanks to his military precision.
Rob, you copy?
He wants to land some aircraft mechanics, preferably with a military background.
Okay, I wasn't aware of a new timeline. Cancel. Stand by for new assignments.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do.
Our hiring platform instantly connects you with quality candidates, and you can schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from the Indeed dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, did you tune in late? It's okay. It happens. You can subscribe to the Chase McCabe podcast wherever you get your podcasts. iTunes, Spotify, doesn't matter. Rate, subscribe, and review today.
Chase McCabe on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
Chase McCabe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. That music. It is time. College football. We had week 0 last week. Vanderbilt got the win over Hawaii. Now it's week 1. It's for real. And it starts tonight. We got some games tonight. And I don't think week 1 is great. I mean, the best game of the entire weekend, in my opinion, is going to be Sunday when Florida State takes on LSU. That could be up there for like game of the year potentially in Orlando. So a neutral site game, LSU Florida State, but there's some decent ones. Got some decent ones. Clemson Duke on Monday night. I think this is like the Clemson redemption tour. But what we got tonight, and we'll give you some bets as we go through some of these things too. So I was just texting with my friend Rick, who is a big fan of the show and friend of the show, obviously. And I said he had given me some picks that he likes, and I said, "Well, is that your pick that you want me to throw out there?" And there's a game that I was looking at earlier that I kind of scratched my head about. Before I tell you what he said, I'm going to ask Nick's opinion on this, or Nick might still be on the phone. I think he is. Getting a winner, but NC State and UConn at UConn. That's a 6:30 kick on CBS Sports Network. NC State is 14.5 point favorite on the road. Now, conventional wisdom for me might be like I go NC State, but 14.5 for UConn. That's interesting to me. Nick, what do you think about that one?
14.5 to UConn, yes, that is interesting. For it to be an opener, I mean, this is the rule of thumb. Anything that's over 10 points that's, somewhat in the realm of, 20-point spreads, I'm hammering. I wouldn't say hammering, but I would definitely be sprinkling a hefty margin on the plus money spreads there.
Okay, so you like taking the point, and I got 14 on the Superbook Sports app, so he has 14.5 from somewhere, but see, and the hook kind of changes it for me. If I got the hook, I'm a little more inclined. I just don't know. UConn has just not been good.
Yeah.
The last few years.
Well, last year, didn't they go on like a 6-0 run?
Yeah, I think they did. You may be right, actually.
Because they made national headlines about it, and I was like, this is interesting. And, of course, when they made national headlines the next week, I think they got thrashed to a good margin.
So, I don't know. Yeah, he just said UConn was 7-5, and he called me a goober. I hate it when you do that. Stop calling me a goober. Okay. So I might lean with you guys and take the points.
And I believe they're the home team. So
yeah, it's at UConn.
If you're the home team, I mean, you got to ride with the plus money points there. I mean, how can you not?
Well, as Ricky likes to say, home dogs bark louder.
They do.
So, okay.
Them Huskies, baby.
Them Huskies, for sure. The one that is okay, and again, Nick, I want your thoughts on this too.
Okay.
Utah is the 14th ranked team in the country. It's in Salt Lake. They're a 4.5 point favorite. ESPN. They're a 5 point favorite on Superbook. I kind of like in my head go, okay, I don't think Florida is going to be very good this year. Utah is probably the better team, but there's this little voice and this feeling in my gut that says take Florida in the points on the road.
Yeah. I mean, if you feel confident in that, do it. Earlier in the week I was looking at this, and I told you, in between segments that, Florida, you could have got them at 8.5 to some books. Some people took alternate 8.5, and then it went all the way down to 4.5. So, I mean, now that the number is getting a little bit more tighter, a lot of the public money is starting to go into Florida's favor. I mean, if you want to play a safe bet, I think the over is a safe play.
40. What is it? It's 44.
Yes, I mean I think that's a pretty safe play there. But if I had to go either side, I'm going to go with the Florida money line. Just hammer it on.
Oh, you like money lines. So that's plus 175 on Superbook.
Yeah, might as well.
Yeah, I mean, look, if I'm going to bet it and I'm going to take the 5 points, I mean, if it's a short line like that, I mean, I'm also going to take the money line. Like, why not?
Yeah, and I'm looking at the injury report right now. It says Cam Rising is doubtful for the game. He has a knee injury still. I believe he tore his ACL last year, still recovering from that. And so it's going to be a little bit of an issue there. And I believe they have another quarterback that is also questionable for the game as well. So there's 2 quarterbacks on Utah's lineup that is still questionable for kickoff. So we'll have to see where that lays. And if with that being said, I mean, Florida, you might as well just hammer the spread if you're not comfortable with the money line.
I do both. It's called gambling.
Yeah.
Do both. All right, so give me Florida, give me UConn. So 2 dogs. Now, I am going to take a favorite here. This one at Huntington Bank Stadium in Minneapolis, Minnesota, hosting Nebraska. Matt Rule's debut with the Cornhuskers. I liked that hire. I think Matt Rule is probably going to turn things around at Nebraska, but give him time. Give me Minnesota. I'll lay the 7 for Minnesota, and give me the Gophers on that. The total's 42.5 as well. I kind of lean slightly under.
Yeah, I mean, Minnesota's one of those teams where they could come out guns a-blazing, or they could be one of those teams that just kind of, they go back and forth with their opponent. They play down to their opponent. So
well, now here's the trick. So Ricky just texted me with this game. He likes the first half over, which is 20.5. That to me could actually be a good play, because I mean that's 3 touchdowns basically. Correct. You could see 3 touchdowns in the first half, and then things kind of cool off in the second half. The total throughout the game, that's a tricky one.
Yeah, I was looking at a first half market. I think minus 3.5 might be a little bit of a sprinkle. I wouldn't say it's a lock
for Minnesota.
Yes, for Minnesota. Yeah. Something with the home team where they have. I know it's not a 2.5, where you can get that field goal cushion, but 3.5. I mean, it's going to come down to maybe a missed extra point or some sort of probably 2 touchdowns if that's going to be the case. But yeah, 20.5 is a good over on the first half as well.
Yeah, and I mean, there's some other games tonight, but those are really the only ones that I'm interested in wagering on.
Yeah.
I mean, UCF's hosting Kent State. They're a 36-point favorite essentially, and then you got some others that are out there. But again, wet the whistle tonight. And then tomorrow there's another slate of games. Michigan State. How about this? Michigan State is only a 14-point favorite over Central Michigan.
That is just mind-boggling.
I kind of like Central.
Yeah, they had a running back, I think, last 2 seasons that is now no longer with the university, but he was a absolute workhorse. Central Michigan always knew how to manage the clock well when they went up against big Power 5 teams. I'm not too sure. I'm not really confident into seeing what they're going to look like on offense this year, but, I mean, if they're getting that type of spread, I mean, that might be a sprinkle to where the point where you can't look back the other way.
Yeah, I kind of like that. I mean, we'll talk about these games tomorrow too, but the other one that I really like, and I'll go ahead and say this now for tomorrow, I really like Louisville. Really? I like laying the 7 for Louisville. I know it's in Atlanta, so it's a home game for Georgia Tech. They're playing at Mercedes-Benz. I'm a believer in Jeff Brom.
Wow.
So
are you doing the 7.5 spread?
Well, I'm seeing it at 7.
Okay.
Laying the 7.
Hard 7. I mean, that's kind of an extra insurance if you ask me, because it could go to a push. But yeah, if I get it 7, I'd ride with you there, Chase.
Yep, I think that would be good. But we'll look at that tomorrow too. For best bets. So feels good to be talking a little sports betting, college football, week 1. It's gonna be awesome. And again, you can hear Tennessee, Virginia starting at 11 on 102.5 The Game, thanks to the Virginia Sports Network, and also we'll have Vanderbilt that night against Alabama A&M on 102.5, 106.3 The Game, and MTSU taking on Alabama on 93.3 Classic Hits starting at 5:30. So a full weekend of college football, a full day tomorrow or later today, and then when we're back tomorrow, Big Joe Dubin is going to be with us, as we'll be talking about a lot of different things with Big Joe Dubin. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. And also Rondé Barber will join us in studio. So looking forward to that. The Hall of Famer going to come in, and we'll talk some NFL with him, get his thoughts on all of that and what he's doing in Nashville. But don't go anywhere. Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace, they're in the on-deck circle. They will break down what Rand Carthon and Mike Vrabel had to say, and also the 53-man roster. That is all next here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
It's Raymond and Austin. We're back on All-Star Sports Radio. Celebrating their 30th year, our sportsbook and casino sponsor, BetUS.com, is going big.
That's right, Austin. Sports bettors can win a new truck, get the industry's biggest 125% sign-up bonus, and even get up to 30 risk-free bets.
Touchdown! BetUS also has a 150% casino sign-up bonus.
Blackjack, now you're talking, Austin. They also have live dealers and live betting on sports, including racetrack.
Get started today at BetUS.com, where the game begins.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Are you drowning in credit card debt? Want to get cash out of your home's equity? Loan Pronto can do it now in less than a week. Hey, Willie Donick here. That's right. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit just got even faster. You can get $50,000, $100,000, even $200,000 in as little as 5 days. You don't even have to touch your primary mortgage. You can keep that 3% rate intact. Get just the money you need